fight right here. Get a little positivity going. I know she's not the most outward expressing player, but just bring a little something.
Oh, she's hit a couple of absolutely stunning drop shots so far.
And when your opponent is just redlining like Collins is right now, I mean, she really can't do much wrong. She could hit the ball with her eyes closed and be fine, it seems, today. But you just have to try some different things to disrupt that rhythm. Give Collins a few different looks, maybe throw in a high ball. Maybe Pegula not super comfortable with that, but just trying something different here.
Because that's the trouble. If she does get involved in these rallies and doesn't create width, she's allowing Collins just to get set, and she's so good going up the line there to devastating effect.
Collins is seeing the ball like a grapefruit right now, and the pace is not phasing her. So Pegula needs to get just a bit creative.
What do you mean by creative?
Mixing in some slices. She has a very underrated slice, Pegula. Mixing in a couple of those shorter or deeper.
The difficulty is, I think, Shelby, at the moment, is she's just reacting, isn't she, and defending and just trying desperately to get the ball back in play. It's hard to implement any kind of game plan.
And that can happen against Collins. Sometimes you just have to weather the storm and try to hang in there as long as you can, and it might look pretty ugly.
Little variation on the first serve there, threw in the big kicker, just 82 miles an hour, got a little more height off the court. That's good thinking. It's one break point save, but here's another. What a return.
Game Collins.
Dropped that one a little short. Of course, those odds are constantly changing. Pegula was the favorite at the start of the match, minus 220, so a big swing since. If you're Pegula in a situation like this, do you believe Collins can keep this up, or are you trying to just weather the storm a little bit?
Well, you have to tell yourself that it can't last forever. Otherwise, you might as well just leave the court, right?
That's why she has to start making a few more inroads when she gets a look at a second serve. Take a leaf out of the Collins playbook. Collins so far, well, in the opening set anyway, 79% of first serve points won, 60% of second serve points, so got to start denting that.
Landed. 30-15.
And it's that second serve stat that really stands out to me. When you're really playing a good match, above 50% winning percentage on the second serve is a good place to be, and she's well above that, and Pegula, unfortunately, well below that. So that's a very telling stat today.
Some nice variation there from Pegula.
Which
of these two players moves more comfortably on a clay court?
This morning it's Collins right now. She's anticipating those drop shots so well, and even though she didn't win that point, she still got to that drop shot with a reasonable amounts of options. When she got there, she had to play perfectly, just missed it long.
Had a chance there to apply just a little bit of additional pressure in the midst of a Collins service game.
Game Collins.
One hold off the back of the early break.
Collins leads by 2 games.
That was a bit of a gift from Pegula there at 30-all to miss that fairly easy rally ball in the net. She knew, you could see her reaction, she knew that was a big opportunity to level out this set here and stay in this match. Just let that game get away from her.
Must-win game here, surely. Again, that's just low-hanging fruit for Danielle Collins. Takes up such an aggressive position inside the baseline, cuts to such an imposing figure when you're down to your second serve at the other end.
Danielle Collins with scoreboard freedom, without that pressure and the close score line. She is so dangerous and one of those players that can just run away with the match no matter who she's playing.
There's so few players that can blow Pegula away. Of course, Collins is certainly one of those when she's in a rich vein of form as she is today. You've got likes of Sabalenka. Maddie Keys, when she's playing her best tennis, can also do some serious damage all aspects of her game. It does take a very special performance to make Pegula look distinctly average, and that's been the case so far today, and that's why this game in particular is so crucial. She's got to get the hold here to give herself something to work with in this second set. She got there again, just the feel letting her down, but again, some good variation from Pegula. That's a couple of times in this game now.
This is well done, but also this is what Pegula has to do right now to win a point against Collins. Come up with almost a perfect drop shot, hit multiple great ground strokes leading up to that. She takes a bit of a sigh of relief there.
Has been a struggle on serve so far. Battling hard to get the holds. Now, could that be the catalyst? Gives her the opportunity. The start of a little more resistance from Pegula. So an important game here for Collins. wicket.
And listen to that crowd, too. They are excited
Love
and cheering
15.
for more tennis. They want Pegula to make a push here.
Nice response. It's not that they're against the defending champion Danielle Collins. It's just that they want a highly competitive affair in the first match of the day. First of two All-American quarterfinal clashes. Amanda Anisimova and Emma Navarro, first match of the evening session, up before 6 local as the second. Sofia Kenin is the 5th American in the quarterfinals. First time that's happened since 1982 here in Charleston. Trying to keep the ball nice and low with a slice. That's where you need the good footwork. Get up the court inside the baseline, get up the back of the ball there. Struck it beautifully. Was just right. I must say Shelby doing an excellent job as Team USA captain in the Billie Jean King Cup, because Pegula's doing everything you referenced since the start of this set. She's throwing in the drop shot, throwing in the slice backhand a little more readily now, trying to disrupt the rhythm.
And a little bit more energy since that changeover. She's trying to keep that momentum going. She stopped the bleeding, if you will, just ever so slightly in this set. So she's really trying to get back to even here.
Oh, she read it beautifully. And there's the little drop shot again. That's 3 times now Collins has made the distance but failed with the response.
I don't want to say that drop shot was out of desperation, because she made it look like it was planned, but it might have been well executed either way.
Yeah, needs must sometimes. Pegula knocking on the door here.
Advantage. Collins.
And Collins has just been so tough in those big points today when it really matters. Pegula has had a few opportunities where she could have worked her way back into that first set, or even now. And Collins just coming up big again with a great first serve out wide.
It is a high-risk strategy, no doubt about it, when you're trying to attempt to change the direction of the shot, go up the line off both wings. So every now and then she's going to miss. It's whether that affects her overall confidence and the ability to execute when it matters most, and to do it again on a big point.
Advantage, Pegula.
Tennis is so brutal in the way that the score favors the person that's actually losing. At no point can you relax, no matter what the score is. There's always that chance, like you said.
Talk about trusting yourself when it matters most.
And a big fist pump here from Danielle. She knew how big that point was. We saw her pull that off so many times yesterday against Ostapenko when she was down in that first set, fighting back, believing in her game when it matters.
And the backhand on the penultimate shot of the rally there for Collins was a little more measured and more height, a little more spin. Inch perfect.
Advantage Collins.
Not that time.
Yes.
Turning into a real battle, this service game now. The longer it goes, the more importance it assumes. First signs of frustration for Collins. Still leads by a set and a break, but you do get the distinct impression that Pegula is now just starting to get involved in the match for the first time. Went a little too big with the second serve there. Not enough spin and starting to get a little stressed out now in this game.
Pegula.
Pegula with a bit of an opportunity. A little reminiscent of last year here in Charleston, where she saved so many match points in multiple contests. Pegula, no stranger to a comeback win here.
In the end, she only just lost to Kasatkina, didn't she? 7-6 in the third. Exciting run to the semis. Tremendous stuff from Jessie Pegula. And it's all a little too much for the defending champion Danielle Collins, who's showing real frustration there of being broken. And surely we've got a match in our hands now.
2 games on.
Collins would be a terrible poker player, wouldn't she? Always wears her heart on her sleeve. That's why she's such an exciting and fascinating watch. But can she keep a handle on those negative emotions now?
15 left.
It really is a game of inches. And in the first set, every single one of those returns she just hit were on the line or a little bit within. And now, just a little shift.
$15 all.
Hitting those returns now with exactly the same amount of care as she did in the opening set. All a little frustrating at the moment. It's more like it.
This can be the temptation here for Collins, is to force it, to want to get back to that level you had in the first set. Not that it's completely disappeared, but she can just muscle things a little bit and try to overplay ever so slightly. So this was a beautiful point, very measured, very calm on that short ball.
Oh, she read it so well, just didn't do enough with the lob there. Good hustle from Pegula.
40-30. Game Pegula.
For the first time in the match, the top seed Jessie Pegula is able to build some serious momentum. 3 consecutive games and into the lead for the first time in this quarter. It wasn't an overly warm hug at the end of the match, there was it from Danielle. But no easy task. Big win for you that day, Shelby. One of many throughout the course of your career. So what's it like when you're coming up against Danielle, trying to weather the storm, the highs and lows, the emotional outbursts?
Often, a lot of times, it's just focusing on your side of the court, trying not to get distracted by what's going on over there. Because as I mentioned, she is one of those players where sometimes those negative emotions can actually make her play better or change her tactics to adjust certain things.
Nicely struck there.
You always want to be aware of what's going on the other side of the court, to a point where you can use certain bits of information to help you or to give you an advantage, but not to a point where it's distracting, which it often can be.
Love. Out. 15 love.
You've seen Pegula settle in just a little bit. Came out at the beginning a little bit low energy, potentially a little sluggish. Can be so challenging after coming off such a big run like she did in Miami to the finals. A lot of tennis already played this year. Just the emotional toll that that amount of tennis can take on you.
It's always nice to get on these winning streaks. We had Collins' 15-match winning streak this time last year, but it's a great point you make. It does take its toll, and it's very, very difficult to then pitch up the next week as the top seed. Greater weight of expectation on your shoulders, a change in surface as well, so never easy. Oh, beautifully done. She just paused ever so slightly before making contact with the final backhand. Chose the right shot in the end.
30-15.
And Pegula looking much more comfortable now, moving into the corners, defending those balls, getting out of that corner quicker with that first step to recover.
Tremendous. Ooh, just missed. I thought she made it initially. We're right behind that line.
40-15.
I have aging eyes, Shelby. Just wide. Nice combination. Great return initially.
And that electronic line calling is so accurate.
Did you see the Kenin incident yesterday evening? How about that? She wanted the umpire to come and check the marks, and not anymore.
Game Pegula.
Some better serving, posting much better numbers in this second set when stepping up to the line and back into the lead once more. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're enjoying our live coverage from Charleston this week as we head into the business end of this second set. Jason Goodall alongside the real local favorite in the form of Shelby Rogers. That was a nice little pickup from Pegula. Much better point construction from Collins there.
15 love.
Seems to have got over that earlier frustration of squandering the lead in this set. Back at it here. She was set there. She would have expected more of herself.
13 love.
We've seen Pegula a few times today when Collins has been at the net, just miss those passing shots, which is usually a big strength of Pegula. She loves a target. She loves a challenge for the pass.
Why the players always whacking their shoes on the clay, Shelby?
You have to get the clay out of the grooves,
okay,
so you can feel a little more stable out there, get your footing a bit better. Can get a little slippery when your shoes are all clogged up. And it looks cool.
Exactly. I was just wondering whether it did make a difference or whether it just looked really cool.
It honestly becomes a bit of a habit, too. Bit of the routine.
Get the clay out of the herringbone sole. Now she needs to be careful here.
30 all.
An opportunity for Pegula at 30 all. Winning does become a habit, so even when she was a set down today and a breakdown early on in this second set, there would have been no panic from Pegula. It's a timely first serve. Something we mentioned in the opening set was the fact that Pegula wasn't doing enough when she got a look at Collins' second serve, and she's changed that here in the second set.
She really has cleaned up that part of her game, which is a big strength of hers, and she was just struggling there in that first set. Credit to Collins for serving really well, serving smart targets.
It's won 7 of 12 points in this set so far. Shot was on. She's used it well in the second set.
Advantage Collins.
It's always doubly frustrating to miss that one wide.
And that's not a bad decision there. She went for the right shot. She committed to it. Sometimes you just don't execute. You have to put it behind you and try to bounce back here.
It's undoubtedly a sign of the pressure she's now feeling when she misses her first serve, given that Pegula's doing a better job of attacking that second. Forcing Collins to try and rethink and perhaps do a little more with the second in terms of accuracy and pace, variation.
And Collins hustling back up to the line after that. She wants to get right back to it.
Pegula there in lockdown mode, simply refusing to miss and attempting to test the Collins forehand.
Advantage.
Worked beautifully.
Pegula. Game.
Four stars are coming thick and fast now off the racket of Danielle Collins. Very different scenario to the opening sets. And it's Pegula now who has the opportunity
Pegula leads
to serve out the seconds.
by 5 games to 3.
That's one of the aspects of her game, Shelby, that she's improved dramatically in set number 2.
I mean, look at these numbers. Oftentimes the stats only tell half the story, but for this instance, it is very telling. Look at 71% there. First serve points won in the second set, up from 46. Just well done from Pegula.
Nicely done. Good feel there.
It's been so fun for me here in the booth commentating, because all of the stories you try not to tell yourself on the court and the stats that you're thinking about and the pitfalls, I can actually talk about them now. On the court, you try to brush those thoughts away and stay in the present, but now we can really hammer it home.
No, that's wide. Another really nice dig from Pegula, who's undoubtedly moving a lot better in this second set than she did initially, especially out of those corners.
In the body language from both players right now, we've seen a big shift. Pegula, a bit more positive energy. Collins with a reaction every single point, whether it's good or bad. Collins after that last game was, as we're here looking out over the court, was, you could tell, thinking about that double fault still. She was saying, get up to your serve, and the game was already over. She's going into a return game. That can be really tricky. Trickles over into the next game.
Again, look at the hustle out of the forehand corner there, which eventually draws the error, just making your opponent play one more shot. Often won't pay dividends, but it did on that occasion. That's why you've always got to give it a good hustle.
And this is what it looks like to weather the storm. Pegula, like you said, just getting to one more ball,
50.
just hanging around no matter what it took. And here she is with set point.
Second set, Pegula.
The response of a champion. Setting a break down and really struggling to win points and games.
Trying to rush in between the points. We saw at the end of that second set, she was right back up to the line, especially in her service games. Just to reset as much as you can here. And that might look like choosing some bigger targets at times, which isn't her favorite thing to do. But just to get into these points a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought she rushed through that opening service game of this set, incredibly so. That's one thing if you're playing well and you play quickly and you're building momentum and you're full of confidence. It's another if the unforced errors start to pile up.
Game Pegula.
It's always nice to hold off the back of a break of serve.
Pegula leads
looking
by
good now.
2 games to love.
And given that she's won 14 of the last 16 matches, you give Pegula a lead in a deciding set, and she is the heavy favorite thereafter. Winning does indeed become a habit. That was the case for Collins this time last year, and she ended up with a 15-match winning streak. Won the title in Miami, biggest of her career, then backed it up beautifully here in Charleston, and the streak was ended with a hard-fought 3-set loss to Sabalenka in the round of 16 in Madrid. But has only won 7 matches so far this season, coming off the back of losing to Sabalenka in Miami this time around.
Late second set.
It's one of the few points that Collins has been able to win off the back of having to chase down a drop shot. We have to talk about players, Shelby, needing to adjust mid-match to try and get back on track. Where does Collins fit in that conversation? How good is she at adjusting in a situation like this?
Collins definitely likes to play her A game, her first choice game plan when coming on the court. So it can be challenging sometimes for her to adjust and go to that B game or even that C game, or like we mentioned before, weathering a storm, getting through a rough patch in a match. She has the tools to do it. It's just a matter of willingness, in my opinion.
15-30.
It has to hold here. Wheels have really come off at the start of this deciding set for Collins. Pegula's had wonderful feel on the drop shot ever since you gave her the green light to use it. Start of the second set.
I'll take credit for that. But Collins has only won 3 points so far in this third set. And you just get the feeling, look, she didn't even kind of try for this ball. We mentioned in that second set when it was 6-1 2-love to Collins that for Pegula that game was huge, a must hold, and this seems like a similar scenario.
Step there, never quite got the feet in the right position. What an opportunity that was.
Pegula can't do much there, but try to laugh that one off because it was such an amazing opportunity.
No spin on that second serve at all. It's lost her rhythm, was serving very effectively in the opening set. And again, rushing here. So deep at the baseline.
Love 15.
Maybe now Collins, 3-love down in this set, will feel like she's got absolutely nothing to lose, will be less frustrated and maybe can just relax a little more, swing a little more freely at the ball.
And as Pegula started to play a bit better and work her way into this match, that serve has really elevated. We see there 106 miles per hour. The pace has increased.
This is a shot she's made a concerted effort at trying to improve over the course of the last couple of seasons.
And it's paid off for her. It's really shown in her results how she's gotten herself out of some difficult situations with that serve, fought through some matches she might not have come through before.
Had a very difficult start to last season. Felt like off the back of 2023, where she was able to win 59 matches, wasn't able to get enough of a rest in the off-season, so started last year still a little tired, picked up a neck injury, missed the swing in the Middle East off the back of a disappointing start in Australia. And then wasn't able to play in the European clay court swing at all because she picked up a rib injury. So it wasn't really until the summer where she started to play her very best tennis.
4 games to love.
Went on that lovely little run in the North American hard court swing, winning 15 of 17 matches, beating Anisimova in the final of Canada, runner-up in Cincinnati, lost to Sabalenka there, and of course made it all the way through to the finals of the US Open. That's been the big bonus this season, starting so brightly. 22 match wins already. Remember, 39 in total last year.
And that's such a brilliant example of how sometimes playing less really sets you up for success. The season is so long and it's so tempting with the ranking system to just play every single week.
That's a great point you make. I was talking to Tracy Austin about that earlier this week. You know, her son Brandon playing at the moment, and Tracy's continually refreshing the live rankings, trying getting him inside the top 100, but he's just been playing week after week after week, and she said, you've got to have a rest at some stage. So it's choosing your moments wisely and then hoping you can peak at the big events, something that the best players in the world are able to do more regularly than some of the lower ranked players. Collins was almost not attempting to chase that down. It's really disappointing, the effort that she's put forth in this deciding set so far. It's mentally checked out of this one.
And just the speed of her play right now, I keep emphasizing that, but it's really telling for how she's feeling.
That's more like it. Lovely feel there.
(30-40). Loose. Ladies.
Overran it just a little bit there on the final shot of the rally.
Advantage, Collins.
That's a big point for Pegula there.
Deuce.
Gets it back to deuce. A little more aggressive on this forehand. She doesn't want to give any games away right now. 4-0 can seem like a hefty lead, but with Collins, you never know.
Advantage, Pegula.
She was white hot in the opening half an hour today. Pegula could hardly win a point in the opening set.
Yeah.
Just a little work for Pegula to do here. 3 points from victory now, Shelby. But what have you made of her overall performance so far today?
Pegula has just kept her head down, stuck to the task at hand, and really come through beautifully. She stuck to her game plan, believed in herself when it mattered, and here she is looking towards the finish line.
Would have been very easy to panic setting the break down, wouldn't it? Especially given how well Danielle was playing. Winning does become a habit. In 14 of the last 16 matches. Nice little title run in Austin to get her season back on track. A 7th career title there. And would love to add to that tally here in Charleston.
Game, same match, Pegula. 2 sets to 1, 1-6, 6-3, 6-love.
It's a third